an analysis of the Republic of India after 72 years. What were or what are the achievements of our Republic? What are the failures, or what are the areas where we have to do more and more things to make our country a big power in the Committee of Nations? So one by one we will analyze the achievements and failures. Friends, as you know, what is Republic? Republic, the preamble of our Constitution, establishes a sovereign, democratic, secular, socialist republic. And what is the meaning of republic? Republic means a country which is headed by an elected president. People of India chooses the president of India, who is the head of the state. So it is just in contrast with the hereditary head of the state like the Queen of England or Great Britain or the Queen of Japan. In our constitution, the head of the state will be elected by the people, albeit in an indirect method by the process of proportional representation by single transferable votes methods. Now, as I have told you that our lesson plan include number 1, introduction, and thereafter what are the achievements, then failures, and then conclusion. So one by one we will take up under these headings. So friends, now let us start the proceedings. If you like my channel, please share and subscribe. Just type AJIS Academy on YouTube and you will find numerous videos pertaining to different topics related to different competitive examinations. So now, what are the achievements for the last 72 years of our nascent republic? Number 1, a strengthening of democracy in India. As you know that in our country since 1952 regular elections are held, and now after the amendment of 73rd and 74th, the grassroots democracy at panchayati level, at the village level, at municipal level were strengthened. The representation of women in those local bodies were increased from 1/3 to 1/2 in the state like Bihar. So what we see, that democracy percolated down to the grassroots level, and no role of the military in the electoral process. Friends, it is important because you know that in Asia, where India is situated, in China there is a one-party government. There is no democracy at all. It is a totalitarian state. In Pakistan, after its inception in 1947, 4 military generals took over the reins of government and ruled for more than 35 years. Similarly, we have seen in Afghanistan, where the Taliban took over the control of government and throttled democracy. Similarly, we see in Myanmar, which is under the military rule. In Bangladesh also the dictatorship by military government was established after killing its father of nation, Mujibur Rahman. In Sri Lanka, we see the Mediterranean rule of Sinhalese, and for the last 40 years they just tried to defeat or to crush the Tamilian sentiments. giving rise to terrorist activities led by Prabhakaran. In Arab world, what you find? That though there is no democracy at all are theocratic states. So, in the midst of militarism in different neighboring countries, it is heartening to note that since our independence, the military generals never interfered in our electoral process, and nor they were allowed to do so. The result was that India, the Indian Republic, strengthened its control over anarchy. After independence, you might have seen or you might have known the Telangana movement launched by communist, different terrorist groups, very much active in northeastern areas, bent upon creating anarchy in those areas, but by sheer dint of the democratic spirit of our constitution and its able leadership, we could control and mitigate the anarchic situation in different parts of the country. We did not give any loophole in our system for the rise of fascism, for balkanization of country as envisioned by the Britishers or the European leaders, that once India become independent, it will not remain united. It will be balkanized. So their prophecies were fully belied. India came out stronger with the passage of time. This is our biggest achievement. A united India, a strong India is the biggest achievement of the Indian Republic. Now, on the literacy front, what we see? That when India became independent, it had only 12% literacy. Now, according to 2011 census, it reached to 74%. And now, as of now, it is thought to be more than 80% as literacy rate in India. Per capita income, what you see that per capita income as per the 2011-12 prices, it is 89,929 rupees. When we compare with the per capita income in 1947, when we became independent, it was only 250 rupees. So you can see the gap, how much we have progressed if we compare with the data available in 1947. Friends, as you know that 94% people had no means of supporting themselves. They could not afford 2 meals a day. And so the next achievement of our Indian Republic is that India achieved self-sufficiency in food. Instead of becoming the importer of food under PL 480 from the US, now India stands as the exporter of food products. This is the big achievement, and this happened because of the introduction of Green Revolution in 1966. By the introduction of high-yielding varieties, seeds, by the use of fertilizers, irrigation, pesticides, all these factors combined together made India self-sufficient in food production. So, another important achievement is the building of institutions. Friends, as you know that after independence, India built institutions like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Indian Institute of Technologies, Indian Institute of Management, big steel factories like Bokaro, Salem, Durgapur, Rourkela, Bhilai. These steel industries were the or have become the backbone of the industrialization of India. Now India is the 10th largest industrialized country in the world. So in terms of basic industry, India became self-sufficient. This is not a mean achievement, because when Britishers left India, it was just converted into a colony to serve the need of British imperialism. Now, what you see, after this gap of 72 years, India has become an industrialized nation. Now, but what Pakistan did? Pakistan did not pay heed upon building institutions. And that's why military took over the reins of government. The democracy cannot thrive without building strong institutions. So, in our country, all these institutions reinforced the power of democracy. Again, IT power and digitization in terms of information technology and digitization, India achieved very big, and its achievement can be compared with the most advanced country of the world. This is not a mean achievement. And another important achievement is empowerment of women. Friends, as you know that before independence, women in India were destined to remain in the four walls of their houses. They could not come out to work in the public view. Now the situation has completely changed. Now women have become engineers, doctors, teachers, chartered accountants. Even now they are getting entry into military, and they have also become great scientists. So what we see, that the empowerment of women is the biggest achievement that India has witnessed during these 72 years of our republic. Now, giant leap towards outer space. Friends, as you know that India is the fourth biggest power in terms of space technology after the US, China, the European Union, and then India. India launched Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and this is not a mean achievement. ISRO is doing excellent job in space technology and increasing the space knowledge. So, largest producer of India is also, its agriculture is growing. Largest producer of milk, millet, jute, ginger, banana, mangoes, and papayas. And the second largest producer of the world is tea in tea and sugar cane. 100% electrification was achieved in India. This is not a mean achievement. In 2015, India became the fastest growing economy. Even it surpassed the growth rate of China. Now India is the third biggest economy in terms of PPP, purchase power parity, after China and the US. And by 2050, India will cross even the US in terms of PPP. And it has now got the third largest scientific manpower in the world. And because of this, the Indian diaspora in the foreign countries send remittances which is largest than that of the other country of the world. And so they largely contribute in the growth of Indian economy. Now, 10th largest industrialized country of the world, and again the fifth biggest economy in terms of GDP. And now, after 2 or 3 years, or by 2030, India will achieve the status of the third largest economy in terms of GDP. So, what we see, that these achievements are no mean achievement. From a colony, from a country whose population, whose 94% population were reeling under poverty, now India can boast of a big power status in the Committee of Nations. So these are the important achievements that I have alluded to. Now I will come to focus upon the failures, or you can say that what are the areas where India is required to achieve so that the melancholy, so that the differences can be sorted out. What are those areas? Inaccessible health, number one. It is very sad to comment upon the state of health sector in India, in spite of the growth in the number of hospitals by government and by private sectors. Large majority of people in India have no access to better quality of health facilities. That's why government has started Ayushman Yojana, where the treatment up to 5 lakh will be free for those people who are under the poverty line or below poverty line. So, secondly, the infrastructure for the infrastructure is also poor. When we compare our roads, our railway track with the developed country of the world, we have still to do a lot to make them at par with the advanced countries and to make them efficient, so that the large number of accidents should not occur in different part of the country. Another failure is the criminalization of politics. Friends, as you know, that if you see the data of elected MPs of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, what we find that 40% of our MPs have criminal background. Similar situation happens in state legislatures. So what you see, that the criminalization of politics has entered into the electoral politics in India. We will have to minimize these tendencies. Another bad impact or the failure of our body polity is that the casteism has penetrated deep into the society, and this electoral politics has further augmented the casteist behavior of the people. People now vote to their caste, not vice versa. So in India, political parties are nothing but a conglomeration of different caste groups to capture power. There may be certain exceptions when the waves goes in favor of certain leader, but in normal situation, what we see, that casteism has penetrated deep into the society. This is a very bad situation prevailing in our country. And another minus point is the rise of communalism in India. People vote on communal lines. People think on communal terms. This is the bad state of affairs that the Indian Republic is obtaining. We must chalk out the strategies to curb the menace of casteism and communalism if you want to strengthen the national integration of our country. And another important point is insurgency. Friends, as you know, that still, in spite of the best efforts of government, of India and different state government, the menace of nationalism is still pervading in certain state of central India, Telangana. So what you see, that this rise of nationalism has caused the killing of police personnel, destroying of or devastation of large amount of property. Although Naxalites have been killed in large number, but still they are active. Naxals do not believe in the Constitution of India. They do not believe in election. They want to wage war against the Indian state, and their main objective is to overthrow the government of the day and to establish their own government by the sheer force of their arms. So they are the believer in the Mao's philosophy, and that philosophy was that powers comes out of the barrel of the gun. So what we see, that the menace of nationalism must be curbed to strengthen our democratic polity. Again, the Pak exported terrorist in Jammu and Kashmir is also a big threat to our national integration. We will have to do more on this front to mitigate their activities. Of late, Government of India reduced the status of Jammu and Kashmir and made it a union territory so that the police power can be controlled by the central government directly, and the special status of Jammu Kashmir was also taken away. So what we see, that now the incidences on this front, on the incidences of terrorist activities have very much come down during these days. Now, too much dependence upon agriculture. This is also an important drawback in our economy. If we compare with the economy of world, what we see, that the people living on agriculture are not more than 1 to 2%. Even in China, the people dependent upon agriculture is not more than now 27%, and its contribution in GDP is now have been reduced to 9%. But in our country, what you see, that still 42.6% people are living on the agriculture, because that is their chief source of their livelihood. Secondly, what you see, that its contribution in GDP is still 14%. So we will have to reduce the number of people dependent upon agriculture, and we'll have to focus more upon industrialization, like in China, so that the burden on agriculture can be minimized. Now, poverty. One of the drawbacks of our economy is that still 22% of the people are living below the poverty line. It is another thing that more than 80 crore people were uplifted from the poverty line during the course of 72 years of our republic. This is not a mean achievement, but still 22% of the people are living below the poverty line, and these people must be uplifted to bring them into the mainstream of our body polity. Now, too much dependence upon energy. One of our drawback in our economy is that 70% of our petroleum products are being imported from Middle East countries. So we are very much dependent upon energy resources on the foreign countries. We will have to chalk out strategies so that we can become self-dependent in energy resources. Non-conventional source of energy will have to be strengthened so that our dependency on conventional source of energy can be reduced. Now, 6 to 7% unemployment rate is a matter of worry for us. Friends, as you know, that India is now on the threshold of reaping demographic dividends. And from 2018 onward, the demographic dividends are very much favorable for India. Why? Because now 69% of workforce available and its dependency load has now been reduced to 29 or 30%. So what you see that if you want to reap the demographic dividends, we'll have to make our people, the workforce, more skillful, more, they should be given more employment, gainful employment, so that they can produce more and more. And by these methods, the growth of our economy can also be increased. Now, again, an important drawback in our economy is that still the women participation in India is very much low. If we compare with South Korea, in South Korea, 50% female participation is there. And similarly, in China, 45% females are participating in workforce. Now, in our country, what we see that it is not more than 20%. So, what we have to do? We have to make women more skillful. They will have to given tax benefit. They will have to given other kind of facilities so that they can work from home or on the workplace. So, increase of female participation is a must if you want our economy to be robust. Now, regional diversity. One of the pitfalls of our economy is that during the course of 72 years, what you see that there is a wide gap between the northern state and southern state when we compare in terms of population growth and in terms of economic growth. More and more industrialization has taken place in southern states in comparison to northern state. Similarly, the growth in population has not still been checked in northern state because the target of total fertility rate of 2.1 is still to be achieved by these northern states like Bihar, UP, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. But when we compare with southern state, their TFR rates have come down to 1.76 with the result that their population has become very much stabilized. So we see that the widening gap between the economic status of the northern state and southern state. The efforts must be made to bridge this gap. And next, the LPG model. Friends, as you know that since 1991, Government of India started liberalization, privatization and globalization policy. This is also called new economic policy, and by this economic policy the growth rate achieved. The growth rate was very much high in comparison to the previous years, but one of the drawback of this model is that the rich become richer and poor become poorer. The 1% of the top people got 22% of the national income and 10% of the upper or top people acquired or corner 57% of the national income. The more distressing fact is that since 1951 to 1981, the growth rate in income for the lower 50% was 2.2%, and after 1981 to 2010, the growth rate in income remained the same, 2.2%. This means that the growth in the economy by the introduction of LPG model could not be appropriated by the lower 50%. The theory that the higher growth will trickle down to the lower level, grassroots level, benefiting the common man, did not materialize. So we will have to do certain things to reverse this process. Now, what you see that in India, it has become the most unequal society in the world with a few elite. This process must be reversed. And this is the negation of the policy of the under Article 39 B and C of the Directive Principles of State Policy, which exhorts the government of India to establish an equitable society and to reduce the concentration of wealth in a few hands. So, on this front, we have failed miserably. Now, conclusion. What are the conclusion? Number one, India will have to launch vigorous program for poverty alleviation. Number two, uplifting people below the poverty line, strengthening of infrastructure to achieve higher growth, to minimize the incidence of unemployment, to give universal access to health facilities, to resolve the border dispute with China and Pakistan, to resolve the border dispute among different state and inter-waterways, to make India militarily strong enough to counter any threat from the China and Pakistan axis, modernization of army and its coordination with paramilitary forces like ITBP, CRPF, Assam Rifle, SSBs. Again, to make Indian Ocean region as peace zone, to minimize the interference of China in the littoral states of Indian Ocean, to lower down the dependence of the import of Chinese goods. Friends, as you know that now the volume of trade between India and China has reached to $125 billion American dollar. But what we see, that balance of favor is completely in favor of China, whereas the export of Chinese goods into India have reached to the tune of $95.5 billion, while the Indian export to China has gone to $30.5 billion. So what we see, that the balance is completely in favor of China. So what is the need of the hour? To become vocal about the local. Why I am telling this? Because India government is a signatory of World Trade Organization, WTO, and so it cannot put embargo upon Chinese goods. But there is no restrictions for the people of India. They must purchase locally made goods in order to make them our economy stronger. Locals must become stronger in compared to the foreign country or foreign multinational company. So I have chalked out certain strategies to achieve big power status for India. If these anomalies are removed, then there is no question of India becoming a great power, a superpower in coming 5 to 7 years. And as India happened to be the superpower before 1700 AD, friends, as you know that in its civilizational growth, India was number one economy till 1700 AD, when Emperor Aurangzeb was ruling over this vast territory from Hindu Kush to Arakan Hills. So the time has come, favorable time has come for India to get a big power status for itself. Thank you very much. If you like this channel, my lecture, please share and subscribe and tell your friend that this is a free channel. Please see my videos on different topics and get benefit. Thank you very much. Stay fit.